So today I thought we could talk about some of my favorite conspiracy theories, because I love conspiracy theories. Not because I'm like, oh my God, it's really true. Hitler is in Argentina and he's 130, or he's on the moon or some shit like that. Not because I like them, because I think anyone who believes in this shit is absolutely stupid. And I just love, I don't know, having a good laugh at stupid people. Is that okay? One of my favorite ones is absolutely the reptilian conspiracy theory. You've almost certainly heard of this one. It basically says, yo, there are these reptiles. They are secretly in charge, and everyone else who isn't a reptile, so you watching, unless you are a reptile, I've got this horribly wrong, you're all slaves to these reptile creatures. And I don't know, I was just, that as a very beginning premise feels a bit weird, because I don't feel like a slave. And I'm sure people will pop off in the comments and be like, Simon, you're a slave to modern culture. You're a slave to consumerism. You're a slave to capitalist society. Maybe. But I don't know, that feels like, I don't want to say there's a good kind of slavery, but being a slave to consumerism, I mean, at least you get lots of nice shit out of it. So what the real cracker with the reptilian conspiracy theory is where it all comes from. It comes literally from a professional goalkeeper. There was this dude called David Icke. I'd prefer to call him David Ick. As I was watching one video about this, and I was like, I'm fairly sure his name is David Icke, but throughout this video, they're like, David Ick. And I'm like, look, I'm not exactly the god of pronunciations, but I like Ick more. Because you can say David Icky, because his beliefs are icky. And honestly, his face is kind of icky as well. Anyway, so this dude is literally a professional goalkeeper. Goalkeeper is the dude who stands in the goal in football, or as you might call it, soccer. Anyway, this guy is an absolute nutjob. Allegedly, he's still around. After he got injured in football, he tried to become a politician. And nobody really liked him. And then he went to see a psychic, because of course he did. And the psychic said, you're going to be the savior of humanity. And he was like, fucking well noted. Whereas most people would be like, go to the psychic and they'll be like, you'll be the savior of humanity. Be like, oh my God, that sounds like a lot of pressure. How about you read those cards again? But no, David Icke was like, sounds about right. Actually, you know what? I'm the son of a godhead. Who knows what a godhead is? I don't fucking know. Anyway, totally believes he's the savior of mankind. And then for some reason, he also starts believing that lizards fucking run the world. So he writes a book about it. David Icke is like, these lizards, they came from far away in space. They landed on Earth. They were like, what's up? They interbred with some humans. They also left some of their lizards behind. And then these interbred humans and these lizard people are basically enslaving us, as I already mentioned. Oh, I should also mention two really important things at this point. Number one is they also drink blood for some fucking unknown reason. And number two, obviously there is absolutely no fucking evidence for any of this shit, just in case it wasn't absolutely, abundantly, unquestionably fucking clear. So David Icke and the people who believe in this stuff, because apparently people are dim, they go around, they collect photos, they collect video footage, which purportedly shows people being lizards, like them having green eyes or weird scales. And I mean, all of this shit, you look at these photographs and they're all fucking obviously explainable. Even the most convincing ones are obviously explainable if you've got an IQ of more than, say, 17. Another argument that he makes, which is just straight idiotic, is he's like, okay, so all of these like famous, powerful people like Hillary Clinton or whatever, you know, classic bullshit, they're all related to each other, and therefore that backs up my lizard conspiracy theory. And it's like, David, we're all related to each other. How do you think evolution fucking works? How do you think we got here? Now, you might be thinking, well, Simon, who cares? This guy's, he's obviously a few sandwiches short of a picnic. He's a few fries short of a Happy Meal. He's a few bricks short of a load. A few screws short of a hardware store. A few cards short of a deck. Thank you, Google. But no, sadly, everybody, I have to tell you, this guy has written dozens of books. And it's like, okay, at this point you might be praying, just tell me no one reads them. Tell me he's like self-publishing them out of his basement and he's printing them on old copier paper and binding them and trying to sell them to people on the London Underground. Or people throw money in a little hat that he's put out in front of him. Please tell me that. No! They've sold millions of copies! And at this point it makes me wonder, what the fuck am I doing with my life? How is this guy selling millions of copies about fucking... It's just so insane. People are so stupid. And it makes me feel so sad. There have been polls done. And if you believe these polls, there are around 300 million people in America. 12 million of those motherfuckers believe in the lizard conspiracy theory. Yep, 12 million. That's basically 5%, which means statistically, it could be you. You fucking idiot. Should we talk about another one of my favourite conspiracy theories? Hitler, Argentina. Just no. Look, Hitler popped himself off in 1945. One of my favourite lines from one of my videos was back in the day. It was like the bravest thing Hitler ever did was broke into the Führer bunker and killed Hitler. But it all gets a little bit sketchy because the Soviets get to Berlin and they're like, all right, we've got Hitler's body. And then the Allies were like, yo, Soviets and co, we really want to make sure that Hitler is actually dead. We'd like to see, what happened to him, maybe see his little blown up face, because honestly, we'd like to know. Also, we'd probably get a kick out of seeing that motherfucker's, fucked up head, because he was a right bell. And the Soviets are like, yeah, we can't do that. We can't do that. Which is pretty sketchy, because you'd think they'd be, they'd be okay, sharing the information. They're supposed to be, allies. And it's like, we just want to know that Hitler's dead. What's the big problem? So this set off this conspiracy theory, which fair enough. The general consensus among historians is that basically it's not a conspiracy theory. The Soviets were just so disorganized after the war that they just couldn't get the paperwork together to allow it to happen because, Soviet bureaucracy. This kind of pisses off the Allies. And then the Soviets basically start leaning into it. And they're like, yeah, maybe he did escape. Maybe that did happen. And again, historians are basically like, this is just a misinformation campaign to throw off the Allies and feed them the wrong information or whatever, just essentially to fuck with them. And apparently people to this day who believe in this conspiracy theory. But I mean, in terms of the seeds for a good conspiracy theory, if there wasn't irrefutable evidence, which I'll get to in a minute, it's like, yeah, I could totally, this seems legit. This is JFK weird shit going on. Legit, right? But don't worry, we're going to disprove it because it's obviously nonsense. A good amount of proof kind of comes out, not definitive proof, but a good amount of proof comes out 20-something years later. It's 1968. The Soviets are like, guys, we finally found that paperwork related to Hitler's death. Here you go. Yeah, he definitely died in that bunker in 1945. Sorry it took us 20-some fucking years to get our shit together. Our bad. But, of course, the legend persists because they're like, oh, it's propaganda, it's a cover-up, blah, blah, blah. The CIA could have been involved. We took tons of Nazis and took them to America, and not just America, but the UK, Soviet Union as well. And we made them give us their technology and all of that shit. And it's like, yeah, that's true. And I was super open about it. Wernher von Braun was a Nazi and shit. And he was over in the US making rockets, and it's like, my dude, you were using slaves in your factories. It's not okay. So if they had Hitler, they'd be like, yeah, we got Hitler. And he's giving us all these secrets of powerful public speaking, excessive drug use. What was Hitler actually good at? And of course, also there's the old classic, that old chestnut. People in South America citing Hitler, being like, oh my God, it's Hitler. Look, there he is. And it's just eyewitness testimony is a fucking joke. So we can pretty much discount all of this anyway. And people are like, I saw a man with a little mustache. And it's like, well, one, that mustache was extremely popular at the time. And two, if you were Hitler, don't you fucking think the first thing you would possibly do after sneaking out the Führer bunker in 1945 is have a shave? It's like, if I had to go on the run, the first thing I would do is shave off my beard. So this is basically just perpetuated by a bunch of stupid people trying to sell, a bunch of, not stupid people. They're quite smart little capitalists writing shitty books on this subject and selling them. Also TV shows, History Channel, making shows about this, basically just spreading a bunch of non-peer reviewed lies. Any sort of peer reviewed historical thing is, no, Hitler died in the Führer bunker in 1945 and he didn't escape to Argentina with his friends. Good news, we could put this to bed. Eventually, got our hands on Hitler's fucking skull. And guess what they did? They were like, okay, let's have a look at Hitler's teeth. They had a look at Hitler's teeth and they matched his dental records. Boom! Hitler fucking dead. 1945. We know it for a fact. Don't spout off in the comments because I'm judging you. Just take the fucking win. Hitler died in 1945 and he fucking deserved it.